Welcome back. Longtime abortion rights activist and former head of Planned Parenthood, Cecile Richards, died yesterday at the age of 67 following a battle with brain cancer. Her passing came just hours before President Donald Trump was sworn in for a second term in office. At first, for me and many women that I know, the news was a gut punch. My phone started blowing up with broken heart emojis and messages of grief. The news discouraging to the point of despair, really, especially for women. And yet, upon further reflection, I realized quickly that Cecile's life should guide us. Nothing stopped Cecile, no matter the setback, political or personal. After the fall of Roe, Cecile continued the fight, looking for new and creating new ways to give women a platform for their voices to be heard. Here on this show, we shared many nightmare stories of women suffering unnecessarily or coming close to death because of these existing abortion bans. Many of those stories came to light because of Cecile, even as she was battling an aggressive form of brain cancer. Last October, Cecile joined me with several of the women brave enough to tell their stories, and at the time, she was facing extreme effects of her cancer.
These problems are not going away, win, lose, or draw. And the stories that these women have told, we have dozens, if not hundreds more. And these are not political stories. These are stories of women and families and daughters and granddaughters. The risk and the struggle to get health care in like almost half the states in America. And that's a long-term fight.
Cecile struggled with her speech, her difficulty walking, her perseverance through it all should lift us up through the next 4 years and beyond. This is what she told the 19th recently. She said, "In all honesty, I fear it will take us a long time to restore the rights we once had. For people who face challenges based on race, geography, income, and more, these inequities are deep-seated, intersectional, and much more difficult to eradicate. We need to be ready for a multi-year fight." And she's right. For many women in this country, life-saving health care, abortion, is no longer an option, especially for women in 12 states with complete bans and 4 states that have 6-week bans. It may be that we work on extending the length of the bans as much as possible. It may be that we work for something better than we have now, maybe with people who we don't agree with at all. Step by step. Cecile's family said in a statement, quote, "If you'd like to celebrate Cecile today, we invite you to put on some New Orleans jazz, gather with friends and family over a good meal, and remember something that she said a lot over the last year. It's not hard to imagine future generations one day asking, when there was so much at stake for our country, what did you do? The only acceptable answer is everything we could." So, with that in mind, in Cecile's memory, let's follow her lead. Cecile's passing also came just days before the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, the decision. Tomorrow marks 52 years since the Supreme Court decided the 14th Amendment provided women a constitutional right to an abortion, a right that was guaranteed until 2022. So joining us now, one of the women who was on set during that discussion with Cecile on Morning Joe, reproductive rights activist Amanda Zurawski. Amanda was denied an abortion in Texas after her water broke at 18 weeks pregnant, far too early for a baby to survive. 3 days later, she was diagnosed with sepsis, a life-threatening condition. That's when doctors finally stepped in and performed an emergency abortion. Amanda and 6 other women sued the state of Texas over its abortion laws, but the state's Supreme Court rejected their challenge. Setback after setback after setback, it seems, Amanda, we still move forward. And I thank you for coming back on the show. And I'd like to start by asking you just for your thoughts on the passing of Cecile Richards.
Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you so much for having me back. You're right, it has felt like setback after setback, but as Cecile Richards taught us and showed us through her actions, we have to keep going. She forged such an incredible path for us, and she was such a guiding light. And she has asked us to carry on this fight, and that's what we have to do, and that's what we will do. She was just an incredible example of hard work, fearlessness, and I hope she rests easy, and it's our turn now.
It is, and we need to step up even more and also work within the reality of where we are. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but first, your platforms mirror what Cecile was doing even in her final days, which is sharing the stories of women, sharing the facts of what happens when abortion care is not available. Tell us about your platforms and some of the stories that you're working to put out there and how you're doing that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. She showed us the power of storytelling, and she created opportunities for us to tell our own stories in so many creative and different ways. And one of the ways that we're doing that moving forward is with an organization called Free and Just. And we're working really hard to shed light on what's happening in this country and make people aware of the real stories and the real people who are harmed. And so we're launching this campaign to share the names and the stories of the 5 women that we know of who have died because they've been denied abortion care. And these are just the 5 stories that we know of. We are certain that there are more, and we just haven't learned of them yet. We are certain that there will be more as long as these bans continue to be in place. And so we are working really hard to make sure that their names are remembered, their stories are told, and this is an issue that we continue to talk about.
And there are women who have died in situations where abortion bans were in place, and you're looking to make sure those stories are told. You said there are more out there. So two-pronged last question here. How do people find you and make sure their stories are told? And absolutely, I welcome my platform, Know Your Value, to help share those stories as well.
Thank you very much. Certainly social media is a great way to stay in touch. I would recommend people watch and follow Free and Just. They're doing great work with storytelling, and just remain vigilant, because these stories are going to continue to come out, again, as long as these bans are in place in this country. So I would just encourage people to stay vigilant, stay educated, and stay informed. It's what Cecile would do, and I think it's what we need to do as well.
It is definitely what Cecile would do. Amanda Zurawski, thank you so much. Let's not make this our last conversation. I'll see you soon, my friend. Thank you very much for coming on this morning. And